KLK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you. On your Tuesday, September 13th, 2016, is Community Conversations on KLK 102.5 FM. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you, and I've got some pink and a bunch of red. Just starting off with him, but I do have my co-host with me, Mrs. Kabila Harden, and we have today Dr. Joyce Olushola, who is a professor of education at Arkansas State University, and we have Mrs. Carlisa Gilmer, who is with the Upward Bound program at Arkansas State University. But today they are in their capacity members of the Gilmer alumni chapter of the Delta Theta sorority incorporated, and as you see, they are. I said that they're representing on our website. Check out if you have any questions for them. You can post them on our live stream. So, how are you doing today, ladies?
Well, thank you, Mr. Wonder.
Great. Thank you for this opportunity to be here today.
Well, we're certainly glad to have you, ladies. So first of all, let's just kind of start with those listeners out there that may know. Tell us a little bit about sorority. When Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded.
Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded January 13, 1913 on the campus of Howard University by 22 college-educated women who wanted to make a difference in the community.
All right, and what are some of the basic principles that the sorority is founded on?
Well, we are a public service organization, so we provide services and programs to promote human welfare primarily in the Black community. We have a five-point programmatic thrust. Under that, economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and also political awareness and involvement. Under each thrust, we have programs. Under economic development, we sponsor KLEK's Money Matters. For educational development, we have Delta Academy and Delta GS. We serve girls 11 through 18, providing mentorship, educational activities, and self-awareness exploration. Under international awareness and involvement, we have a Spoons Drive, Spoons for Haiti. Under physical and mental health, we acknowledge autism awareness. And under political awareness and involvement, our reason for being here today is voter registration.
We definitely talk a lot about voter registration and the electoral process. Now, Mrs. Gilmer, since you are giving us that lovely history about this sorority, let's now talk about the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter itself. When was it founded?
That was June 28, 1997. 13 dynamic women here in the community. If you don't mind, I would like to talk about it. Betty Aldrich, Mary Spratt Allen, Myla Gay, Stephanie Gumby, Mary James Hayden, Tammy Jackson, Dr. Jennifer Rice Mason, Patricia Tony McLean, Rebecca Harrison Scott, Katina Simpson, Norma Alley, Linda Whiteside, and Sonia D. Woods.
And many of those ladies I actually remember from back when I was a student at Arkansas State University. Back when they were Indians, now they are the wolves. So it is all good. All right, Mrs. Gilmer, why is social awareness so important to Delta and to the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter? That is the purpose of you ladies being here today. So now just give the listeners an overview about social awareness and why it is so important to this and to the chapter.
Where our national theme is uncompromising commitment to communities, service, leadership, and empowerment. As a national organization, we just believe that it's important to be aware, first of all, of what's going on in your community, issues, and working hard. We're not just about knowing what's going on, we're about taking action and helping to make a difference in the community. We're mothers, we're winners. We want to empower our people and just be united in making better choices for people in the community.
Oh, we're certainly thank you for that, Mrs. Gilmer. You're doing good. I know you say you were a little nervous before we going on to the air, but you're speaking well and you're bringing a lot of information out there. Did you have any questions on this regarding to this brand Dr. Olushola?
Yes, since we're talking about social awareness topics, what are you mentioned voter registration? So what are you all doing to help increase the numbers of, getting people registered?
Just making people aware of different issues that are occurring in the Jonesboro community. We would love people to be connected to our website. We're going to have a countdown post on our website. So any information in any way we can help people know where to go. We have voter registration. We have the packets. Just anything we can do to help people get connected. We want to be available to them.
And I give this website.
Jonesboro alumni.
I want y'all to have that memorized.
www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Once that is www.jonesboroalumnidst.org. Or as Cheryl Underwood would say, go to the Google and look up Jonesboro Alumni Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I'm going to bring in Dr. Olushola now. So, kind of back to what Kubila was saying, what are some of the issues in regard to social action that you feel are important, especially being, like I said, a university professor who interacts with the youth, with some of these social action issues that affect both the youth as well as the older population?
I think the main thing is civic engagement and empowerment. You find that people don't use what they don't really have the power and authority to use. And so what we find is that people don't vote because they see the power in doing something, but more importantly, they don't see the power in themselves. So we as an organization want to empower through education. We want to empower through self-reliance, and that's not just through voter education, but as Ms. Gilmer already stated, we have a 5 points because we know before we even get you to the vote, you gotta have a job or a car, right? So we know people ain't worried about voting unless they can eat and they take care of themselves. So we want to make sure we're taking care of the community as a whole, not just as voters, citizens. So a lot of our programmatic does speak to the holistic approach that we take to political and social action, in that we want healthy, informed individuals voting. Not just people voting because it's an election, but people voting because they don't have the power to make change in their community.
And of course, as my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, always says, a voteless people is a hopeless people. So, see, looking for my friend. We Facebook shout out. This is from one of your sorority sisters. Shout out to Mrs. Billy Jane Rogers. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for viewing our live stream. Of course, you can check out our live stream. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. And also, if you have a question for either of these ladies, phone lines are open at 870-277-1080. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-1080. This is Community Conversation. Okay, LK 102.5 FM. We are speaking with Dr. Joyce Olushola and Mrs. Carlisa Gilmer of the Jonesboro Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Social Action Committee.
Okay. I wanted to follow up on what Dr. Joyce was saying about, you want the people to be whole before even trying to introduce them into voting. There's other aspects of their life that need to be taken care of first. What are things that you are helping? What are some programs you may have done?
Oh, thank you.
On September the 26th, we'll actually be having an orientation for our 2 programs. Delta Academy, we work with girls 11 through 14. And our Delta Gems is 14 through 18. So invite her out September the 26th for that orientation to get more information and to get connected. We would love to have her.
And if I can add, to that, brag my swords because, as Carlisa said earlier, they're mothers, they're aunts, and sisters, and the impact that they're making on people in their family. You know, I hear about it because they'll say, "You know, Aunt Delta, you know my auntie, you know my sister," and I'm like, I know that that's because my swords are doing it in the way that they do. So when we speak about these programs, it's not just things that we do; it's what we are as Deltas, and so. We go out to the community, we speak, we've done career fairs, we've done health fairs in the community, at the schools, we've been asked to speak at panels. So feel free, you're Delta, you walk up to her and and let her know that she has open ears and open hearts to whatever we can do to help her succeed at the college level and beyond.
There will be more information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, Mrs. Farrell, today, well, today, Mrs. Farrell,
Mm-hmm.
well, Mrs. Farrell,
Hey, that's right.
well, Mrs. Farrell, today,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you for the call, Mrs. Farrell. And today, we had Kate Holiday on the program earlier, and Kate actually said that even though they're not allowed themselves, I think Kabila, you can refresh my memory that the Jets themselves may not could have give rides, but there's nothing stopping private individuals from offering rides to some listeners out there. If you want to volunteer yourself to give a neighbor, a friend, a church member a ride to the polls, you certainly can. You know somebody that has a van or a vehicle that can transport a lot of people, offer your services to use that vehicle to take people to polls. Once again, we're speaking with Dr. Olushola and Mrs. Carlisa Gilmer, Johnson, the chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated Social Action Committee, and phone lines still are open at 870-277-1080. Once again, the phone number is 870-1080. Now, Delta has a history of social action going back to the very beginning of the sorority. In fact, I was looking on y'all's national website. I believe the sorority was founded in January 1913, and in March of 1913, the sorority participated in the Women's Suffrage March. So every beginning over years, the sorority has hit the ground running with social action. So kind of comment on as far as the history of social action of the sorority.
If you look at the history of Delta, even our founding is social action. We saw change needed to be made, and we did it. And I think that the power in that is knowing that they did it without support from other women. They did it without even support, even in their own community. And that type of power lies within us as individuals, and even so much more when we organize together. So for us to be talking about voter registration now in 2016 just shows us, one, the need for social action in our community, even 103 years later, but that also has been a consistent force in making sure that our communities are heard. And I think that even the evolution of our organization and our principles shows that we recognize that it's more than just marching, it's more than just protesting. We realize that we're individuals who have power to make a difference, not only for themselves, but their community. We bring that out of them. And so we realize that there are a lot of school barriers. So I just wanted to list specifically what we do on a national level when it comes to social action. And we realize that in order for us to be whole and not just what we do, but who we are, we not sponsor voter registration and voter education programs. We also work to combat voter suppression. So we know these past couple of years, we've been working to make sure that ID laws are not prohibiting people from being able to vote. We also are looking at the Felon Restoration Act, where allowing those who have served their time and paid their debt to society to be able to vote.
And not to cut you off, now that was something we talked about when we had the holiday on, and it's in Craighead County that if you are a felon and you have satisfied your time and your fines and probation roll and you can't vote, you just have to go to the county clerk's office and submit your paperwork, and then your rights will be restored.
And we know that's important, particularly for our community, because we know that disproportionately more of our males and our females are being incarcerated, and so that takes away not only their individual power, but our power as a community to be able to shape our politics. So I just wanted to add also too that we also support the affordable health care and access to quality health care, financial literacy, and economic empowerment. So support HBCUs, political awareness and involvement, as our address, as Ms. Gilmer already stated, gender equality, and also our fight against racial.
All right, and you all are actually doing it very big. You know, the Attorney General of the United States is actually a member of your social board, Mrs. Loretta Lynch. So you've actually got one at the very top of this fight for these social action issues. And I know that is one of the things that she is focused on is the citizen reform, trying to, along with President Obama, trying to cut down on these like mandatory sentences or lighter crimes and stuff. So why don't you just comment on that a little bit?
Yes, I want to also thank and praise my sorority. I know it's been empowering to me as an individual to know that when we come together as a international organization, even the power to get her appointed, how we stood together for that. And that when she got in, you saw she hit the ground running. Baltimore was happening. We realize that there's no time to waste. And so we see that even on the local level, that before we put a program on, we're doing it in our daily lives. If you see, most of us, we're educators, we're health professionals. We realize that it has to be more than a career, it has to be a passion. But we're grateful for the positions that we're able to be in. Also, too, we think about Congresswoman Marsha Fudge in Ohio. She uses her position platform to speak about so many issues, and that's really what we want to highlight is that whatever title you have, student, mother, father, brother, cook, you have a platform by which you can not only speak up for yourself, but also speak up for others. And so really we try to advocate with social action is that whatever position or title the world may call you, it's just a platform for how you're going to reach others.
Okay. Well, since you brought that up, I know we're talking mainly about voter registration and things of that nature, but you mentioned that you work with physical and mental as well as one of your thrusts. Do you often do health awareness events, or so someone within the chapter has a particular health issue? Do you allow them to host events or partner with someone to put on something that still is under the name?
Oh, yes. So we actually right now our current program is St. Jude's, which is going to be in Memphis,
Okay.
September 24th. We are raising money if you go to our Facebook page as well as our website or any of our personal Facebook pages. You'll see that we're raising money for that.
Okay.
And we like to do things that are active. So
Okay.
we don't want just money. We want to actually go out there and walk because we know it's important to stay physically active. And I like how you phrase that question because we really focus more on the sisterhood part. And I think that's, physical and mental is really about how we care for each other. So we have done mental health sessions where we talk about, what does it mean to be a woman, a mother, a worker, or be a Black woman, and we take time to really explore that so we can think about strategies not only to help our sorors, but really think about how that struggle, is goes to mainly a lot of Black women. So,
Alrighty. We're going to definitely finish up this conversation when we come back. I would love to hear more. And we're going to get ready for a quick break. You listen to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
All right, we're at break. Webcam is still rolling, so please be mindful.
I
I mean,
You have to move around, but
Okay.
just can't say, you don't want to say anything that's going to
yeah,
Uh-huh.
but this first segment, it goes by pretty quickly. As you
It did. Oh my God.
How do we feel the second?
well, I mean, well, we can talk about health because Joyce brings up interest. You're not healthy and you're not studying voting. We can kind of tie into that, and some of the other parts of the social action. You mentioned voter suppression. You don't really see a lot of that in Arkansas, but there was a big case in North Carolina where there was a law that was passed that was actually struck down, and I believe the state appealed to to the Supreme Court, or it may have been to an appellate court, where I don't have the information in front of me. So we can come up with some more social action stuff.
Yeah.
Joyce, you're gonna come to a poetry thing Saturday?
Is this Saturday?
Yeah.
We're gonna be in West. Oh no. We're gonna be in Fort City. And then from Fort City, I'm going to Memphis.
Oh, okay. Hey, y'all gonna miss it. We're actually doing wrong for kids last time.
That was really great. One of the mothers that we put together, she wants to do do one more for the year. And I can just take a break because hopefully, if everything goes well, we start new classes October 6th.
Yay!
Yes.
Which program are you looking?
Social. I'm going to finish up my social and then, I don't know, I'm going to try to get my master's in social.
That's it. That's it right
I
there.
need to get my license.
Mhm.
So you go to the research for master's.
Master's rehabilitation.
Why haven't you taken your license with that?
Why?
I know. And
Well, it's all about finding what you love and pursuing it, And the rewards will come. That's what I keep telling myself.
We just had this conversation.
That sure did. Confirmation.
Well,
Yes.
I love doing this. It's a crazy business.
It's putting things in light of eternity, and that's what God is really helping me see. Like, when you're doing like real good work, there's no financial, time, physical cost that can ever be enough. Like the reward that you get. I mean, to anybody teach that. You need that
Well,
in the paycheck. Not in the paycheck.
So can we go and watch this broadcast?
yeah, I mean, as soon as we get done, it'll automatically
I tried to go back and watch it. Where do I watch it?
hit that Facebook.
And then have a video option.
on YouTube as well.
I tried to watch the Rashida and Gerard broadcast. I couldn't find it.
Quicker fun on YouTube. Well, this
Just search for it.
I need to actually update some of these titles on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, just go to KLEK Facebook. I mean, it'll be at the top of the page. It'll be the most recent post. All right, we get ready to go back live.
That's right.
And we're back on Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. Our guests for today are Dr. Joyce Olushola and Mrs. Carlisa. Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Social Action Committee. We're talking about voter registration, getting involved in the community, and just action in general. Now, before we went to break, I was speaking with Dr. Olushola about the health part of social action and how that ties in voting, and why is health such a part of social action?
Well, we know that we can do a lot of things, or we can think about a lot of things is what we do. Like Ms. Farrell said, it's one thing to vote, it's actually another thing to get up and cast that vote, or be registered, and another thing to cast it. So we realize a lot of the issues that are plaguing our community and our ability to be more empowered and more effective. It's starting with our health, right? We got to start with self, and so we realize that it's a holistic approach we need to take to health. So I applaud Delta. We actually this year are starting a new initiative with the National Institute of Health, where we're looking at health in 4 forms. We're looking at bullying, we're looking at postpartum depression, we're looking at depression amongst college students, and then we're also looking at successful aging. And so we realize that these are things that are keeping people mentally down in order to, and which is keeping them from being physically active or community engaged. So we are as a chapter and then as a sorority realizing that we need to start with the individual first before we can get them out to the polls or get them working out in the community.
Can I elaborate on that a little?
Sure.
We practice what we preach.
Practice.
This year, just individuals within the sorority, we have to be on one accord and start with self, as Dr. Olushola said. So my body is soul. We're going to have a shop that addresses each individual capacity, being healthy, mindfully, also physically within our body and our soul as well.
Okay.
We have another Facebook shout out. Shout out to Tommy Lee Hill. I appreciate you for checking out our live stream. Once again, we are speaking with Dr. Joyce Olushola and Ms. Carlisa Gilmer of the Social Action Committee of the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
I love how you say that.
Well, I also like saying that Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. You got to represent here.
That's why we're riches and love.
All right. And of course, if you have a question or comment, you can post on our live stream. You can also give us a 870-277-1080. Once again, phone number 870-277-1080. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to jump back in and kind of follow some things you did as far as.
So that mic a little closer to you.
I'm sorry. The voters and all of these are misprepared. There are a lot of people who don't even know who the candidates are. So, what are some ways that you all want to maybe help educate the people to just need to know who the candidates are? Or
What voter education programs is the chapter participating in?
Well, we know a lot of people are connected to social media. So follow us on Facebook for more information on candidates and issues in the Jonesboro community.
So the chapter will be sharing like profiles and information about the candidates in a nonpartisan way because basically, we don't want to endorse
General
us.
information.
Yeah. And we also too want to be a hub for that information. So if you have sites that can provide partisan information about voting, how to be a worker, we're also encouraging people to come out and be a part of the process, not just to vote, but be a part of the whole election process and be educated so that they can educate others. So any information that you have that can help us better educate the community, we welcome that as well.
And one resource that I'll just give to the listeners is the Facebook page of Craighead County Clerk Kate Holiday. Not his personal page, his actual page of office. Kate has a sample ballot where you can see the names of the candidates, the position that they are on the ballot, and there's also links to the ballot initiatives. In fact, Mr. Holiday will be in studio on a future edition of Community Conversations to talk about some of the initiatives on the ballots that you will be voting on. So that's one resource right there in which the listeners and the viewers can go to.
I'm glad you brought up initiatives. Are you all also educating people on the language of what the different initiatives are actually saying? Kate did mention to us that the state or someone is working on a very condensed, easy to read version of those initiatives. So are you all trying to way to educate people as well on what the language of initiatives?
Yeah, voter literacy is very important. I think that that's something that we can do on a strategic basis. I know as individuals, we are working to educate ourselves as a chapter, so this is something we discuss in our knowing what these bills are so that we can explain it to the community. But we are looking to, we're open to any community organizations, NAACP, the county clerk, that if we can be a partner in that, that's something we're definitely interested in doing, is increasing civil literacy.
But definitely connecting Mr. K Holiday, he's a great resource. He's been in this position for several years, so he has a wealth of information to share concerning all things voting. Okay, well, we've talked quite a bit about voter registration and the different education programs. Are there any more programs that you are doing specifically that you would love to just highlight? It can be something past, present, future.
I would like to highlight our educational program. So, Carlisa being modest, she's actually one of the co-directors of our Delta Gems and our Delta Academy, and just the impact that they're having on the young women. We have speakers in the community, and it's very important to have those type of role models, to see people that look like you being successful. So, we are looking for speakers.
Absolutely.
So,
Y'all can have me come speak.
of course,
Really great.
yes. We talk to them about everything.
I'm not a girl, so I'm looking to role model.
You have valuable information to contribute to the population.
And I also want to highlight our Sonia B. Williams Scholarship Breakfast every year, and shout out to one of our members, Sonia B. Williams, and just the impact that she's made as an educator, as well as a member of a sorority. So that will be in the spring, but we are grateful for that opportunity because we raise money to give access to local youth to be able to attend college and empower them in that way.
All right, bringing it once again back to social action, Mrs. Gilmer, you being over the Delta Academy. So, how do you all use Delta Academy as a tool for social action? Like, for example, the Delta Academy girls, I guess if you all doing anything with them right there, are they going to assist with the voter registration, or you just talk to them about the importance of voting, even if they're not old enough themselves to start educating themselves on the issues? Because even if you're not old enough to vote, you still can be knowledgeable of who the candidates are, what they stand for, and they encourage you to have conversations with their parents, ask questions about the issues that affect them, so that when they do reach the age of 18, they can become informed voters themselves.
Absolutely, that's a great point. And at this point, we have them directly involved in the process. But definitely educating them, like you said, and giving them something to look forward to in the future and helping make a difference in the world.
If I can add to that, I think it goes back to we're empowering them right now through education and the fact that we allow them to create programs so that they know they can make a change. Don't wait to vote for somebody else to make a change. You have that power within yourself. You don't have to have somebody elected or a program. They do a lot of things even within Delta Academy that they plan themselves or that they help plan, that helps them to know that, hey, I can do something. And so even empowering them to take care of their health, empower them to take care of their finances and their education. You're starting that civic engagement. You're starting that empowerment that leads to them wanting to vote because they don't.
Sure. Even when it came to college, yes, we had counselors at our school, but we still didn't have those that just tried to drill in us the importance of being successful in college. And unfortunately, when I started, my mindset wasn't quite right. I wasn't totally focused, and I wasn't successful in my first 2 years in college. But now that I'm older, no more. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and give it another try.
Another thing about our program, the students and our more.
I love ladies. I can't remember what I was gonna say, but it's just that it's important to have those type of programs for our young people. Yes, and okay, so plug. I'm the physical and mental health chair. It's my passion. But what we find out, going back to Kamila's situation, a lot of Black women and women of color are being silenced, and we want to stop that. We see that, professionals. We see that even in the healthcare system, where we don't feel comfortable asking questions if we feel comfortable even going to the doctor, and we find that starts at a very early age. When we start getting stereotyped and not in room to love ourselves, we start being silent. And it actually, sometimes you see it, girls are physically shrinking in certain spaces because they're afraid of who they are they're going to be judged. And so we really want to empower our young men and realize that what we don't sow in them as young people, we can't expect from them as adults. So what we're finding is that going back to voter registration, people are not voting because they're so used to being silenced in other areas of their life. They don't feel like their vote is going to count.
Yes,
So
right.
we can start empowering them at a younger age to say, "Hey, I see you. You out here, and you have a purpose." That will start building, plant that seed that your voice matters in our community.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I think one problem that we have in the community is voter apathy. I see on social media, you have a bunch of people say, well, the elections are rigged, they're fixed, my vote doesn't count, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. So, how do you combat that? How do you respond to the voter apathy?
I think you have to put it in context of what does your vote count for? Is your vote to actually elect someone, or is your vote to show that you matter? And we have to reframe it as, I'm about to say Jesus is in control. I don't even really care who is president or whatever, because I know God is in control. So I know I vote because God gave me that voice to speak up. Because guess what? Even if the person you elected didn't get into office, when they go to the next election, they're going to look at your county and say, oh, they had 85% voter turnout. We need to make sure we're in that community to affect them. Or otherwise, the next time they come, the elections come, that can swing the vote. So even if your vote doesn't count right now, I mean, if we think about it, even as an organization, our founders were marching in 1913 for voter rights. We still in 2016 fight it. Imagine somebody would have given up in the 30s or the 40s, the 50s or the 60s or the 70s or the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. We wouldn't even be able to vote. They still have to vote to let us vote.
Oh, wow.
We've got our Olushola preachers.
We can't, to the voter apathy, I understand it because, we have to realize our power never came from anybody else. Our power comes within ourselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And if we think about the fact that the things we're fighting against are generational, they're institutional. So it's really so much about what are the seeds that we're laying for the next generation to reap from. Just like they had to march and fight and sit in the 60s and the 70s, we got to do whatever it looked like, social media, protests, die-ins, boycotts, whatever it looked like in 2010, so that the next generation is not on the cotton field.
Amen.
And let's transition to that. I'm glad that you brought up those points. So, social action can take many forms. It can be a physical protest. It could be just voicing your vote. I mean, there's so many different ways in which you can make social action. So I just want to get your comments and thoughts on how social action can tie into things such as like some of the issues of today, such as the Black Lives Matter movement and other things like that. Because you have some people who are more militant in how they express themselves, and you have people who are more on the passive side of how they express themselves. And sometimes you have a conflict between the two sides. But how do you feel from a social action standpoint of how people who are more militant, people passive, come together to still fight for equality and for the right of all people?
I just feel the emotional aspect of it. Sometimes we make bad decisions when we react out of emotion. So step away from that emotion and actually educate yourself on the issue, and you'll be better able to make a decision and move forward in your actions.
For someone who is shy, you speak very intelligently.
If I can add to what my sword eloquently said, I think about the metaphor the Bible gives us is that we are our body, right? And if we think about the Martin Luther Kings and the Fannie Lou Hamers and the Rosa Parks and Bethune-Cookmans, they could not be where they were without the people who were doing the paperwork, raising the money, posting the flyers. So we have to avoid letting the media put us against each other. We have to realize that I need the Black Lives Matter moment to happen, because now in my class, and I can even speak in my diversity in my sociology class, we were talking about Black Lives Matter and how do the Africans have the right to protest. So now I get to make it an educational forum because of what they're doing on the streets. Now I can't always speak up from that standpoint of a professor, but now the kids are getting it into the classroom, and now we can talk about it. So I see it as that we need to realize that we need the the Malcolm X, like we need the Martin Luther Kings, and we need Rosa Parks, and we need all people behind the scenes doing things. And it's to your point, people. I think even being in my position, the way I fight, and it's similar to if we think back when Africans were first enslaved. You have those people who ran away, but you have those people who were also sneaking food in the master's house, to help feed other people. Those are those daily things that we often overlook that help us get through the struggle. And so I see for myself as a teacher and as an organization as Delta, it's the education, the everyday living your life as an example. Like, I know all these things are happening to us, but we're still rising above it. So I think it's to that point, like I'm all for the different types of constructive ways of protesting and bringing awareness to the issue. All of it is needed because Black lives can't be out there unless people funding them. So that means I gotta go to work.
Well, and again, all of this ties into social action because, like you said, we are one body, and a body is composed of parts, and each part is working in unison with the other parts to affect change. And like I always said, be the change in which you seek.
I wrote a poem. I'm not going to recite it now, but
to Saturday. By the way, you are having our adult. This Saturday, what's the stop? Beach Store and Catering, 6 o'clock p.m. 18 and up. No topic is off limits. So if you want to talk lives matter, if you want to talk, if you want to talk, what goes on.
All right. You calling out the main line.
That's why it's showing me 6 p.m. 6 p.m. this Saturday was Beach Store and Catering, right? We're gonna bring it back to the talking here with Kubila.
But anyway, the title of my poem is called Evolution of Revolution. And like I said, we have to change the way we do things, and we have to look at it from the today's standpoint. Now, we're no longer enslaved by the things we were enslaved by before. Now, more people are enslaved. They're almost enslaved themselves.
Yes.
Lack of education, chasing materialistic things. They're not focusing on the issues that are important to our culture.
Yeah.
And we're losing our culture, and then we're losing our young people as well. So I'm really grateful for all the work people all are continuing to do within the community to try to bring all that back in. Get a grip on the young generation so that they won't be a lost generation when they become our age. So thank you all so much for all of you doing it. My philosophy is always the pen and the sword. I always love that because, like you said, yes, people can get out and fight physically, but think about all the behind the scenes things that you can really break someone down and make a lot of change by just writing letters to the editor or writing letters or, using your
policy.
And I'm going to just give a quick example from my fraternity, Alpha Phi fraternity. Thurgood Martin.
I knew you always argue Brown versus Board of Education.
But basically, he used the power of law to affect tremendous change in the United States of America. Speaking with Dr. Olushola and Carlisa Gilmer, for London chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Social Action Committee. This is Community Conversations. Okay, 2.5 FM. Well, we got one more break, like a little 7-minute segment.
I am ready to wrap up these days, but I'm going to get out of water.
Well, I told her we'd just kick you out the studio. I told the Alpha Counters they would kick her out the studio.
So
it's just going to be me and a bunch of Alpha. We just going to do what we do. So what? When the cameras off.
She would put $100,000 in that account when she turned 65.
Oh,
I have.
you all say, Lorraine?
So now you earn money by part-time employment.
I love it. I listen.
Overload.
You know, I was introduced to
We're talking about money.
when I was in high school. I wish I had got more involved, or I was introduced to the earlier college. The non-tax was very big part of the community. I was took part in their Hungry Girl.
Oh,
You
okay, yeah.
So I still have my family.
Oh, the town. All right, wait for it.
Money Matters is made possible by the Gilmer chapter of the Nevada's Award Incorporated, a focused organization dedicated to a compromising commitment to community. Serving
These are these.
www.jonesborough.tst.org.
Then they would have different.
Now you go to St. Paul, right?
Missionary Baptist.
Okay, well you know you all gonna be on.
That's right. We gonna be on the second and the third.
Yep.
Programs like
Yep. I've already Rev Jackson already sent me a couple sermons. So we got-
Bro, y'all gonna hear me? Don't unhinder my praise.
And this is another thing I'm struggling with. What have I done so far in my life to where I can
You know what's more important is the conversation. You know, young ladies need to see the struggle.
Yes.
How
Don't.
you overcome the struggle. That's the benefit.
There's one thing I want to do in March. I want to host a luncheon centered around lymphedema, because I feel like people need to start having the conversation. Like, people see me, but they don't know what's going on. I feel like, okay, it's time for me to break out of my shell and start talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Starts with a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Address is 911 Road, Jonesboro.
And now back to community conversation. We take 102.5
And we're back to community conversation on KLK 102.1 FM. Kayla Wonder is in the studio with you, along with my co-host, Carlisa, and we have Dr. Joyce Olushola and Mrs. Carlisa Gilmer of the Social Action Committee of the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sorority Incorporated. We have been talking about social action the entire hour. We want to thank the ladies for stopping in the studio for a very inspiring and uplifting conversation.
Yeah, give a shout out to.
But my closer to you.
Okay.
Well, you want people to hear you.
Well, we have to definitely give a shout out to your president, Miss
Absolutely.
Pam. I don't know.
She's probably listening on our KLK app, which you can download from the App Store. That's one plus. It's free.
Do it good. Well,
Yes, you got it. With it right on in.
Well, you know, if I don't know who will.
That's right.
I just want to say, obviously, you know, the leadership she brings to the organization, because you all are doing such a wonderful job in the community. I'm always seeing flyers and announcements of things that you all are involved in. I mean, I would love to get more involved. So we were talking about it off air. Hopefully I can break out of my shell a little more, and you know, I would love to just be a guest of some of your events.
Absolutely. And I was telling you, it starts with a conversation. That's the beginning.
And this is community conversation.
Okay, so I would love for y'all to be a guest again to talk about other aspects, because I mean, 1 hour is just really enough to talk about all of the things you all do. I want to break down each and every one of those thrusts that you are encompassed in your organization. Are there any other, anything else you would like to touch on concerning social action and what you all do? You have any, I know you mentioned before your orientation for Delta Academy and Delta Gems. You don't have anything else planned so far that's coming up the community needs to know about?
just as St. Jude's, please. We do this because it's something that's important to us, and when we talk about cancer, we know that we as African Americans are disproportionately affected by cancer because we often don't get the treatment in time. So when we support St. Jude, it's not just because it's a big organization, but we really understand the importance of catching things early And more importantly, just bringing awareness to the need for more healthcare literacy or health literacy, healthcare reform, and just access to.
For some reason, he chose me. Or
Department of Health, PE, and Sports Sciences for letting me be university as well.
that's right. Direction of